I am Barbara Nicolapoulou. I am a PhD student in the University of Athens, and my focus is emerging contaminants, targeted, non-target ones. Our area of interest is Asopos River Basin. Asopos is a river north of Athens, Greece, and it's known for the agricultural and industrial activities of this area. Our study was the first to focus on emerging contaminants, targeted, but also non-targeted ones. We were able to detect compounds in different sampling points and also in different seasons, and also detect spills. In our area, the previous monitoring studies focused on heavy metals, especially on chromium. And we had the opportunity with the region of Attica to extend this knowledge and identify more compounds rather than only heavy metals. With our sampling campaigns, we were able to get river water samples for 4 seasons, overall 102 river water samples. We gathered the groundwater from 12 sampling sites for 1 season. From 10 sampling sites, we got for 3 seasons the drinking water. And for 2 sampling sites, we had sediment samples for 2 seasons. Of course, we studied the priority pollutants from the directives from the European Union, but also more emerging contaminants. And to assess the risk, we had to use in-house tools, in silico tools, for the prediction of their toxicity and the risk assessment. I have some pictures here from our sampling campaigns. We had the auto samplers, and we were gathering sample for 24 hours, so for multiple days. And we were checking the rainfall, changes in the color of the river. As you can see, we had some days black, sometimes more clear, sometimes it was heavily with soil. And any flow changes, directions, anything that we could note, we were writing down. Since we have to study a big variety of contaminants, we have to follow generic sample preparations. In this slide, I show you 2 generic protocols. The first one, the blue one, is the sample preparation protocol for LC-HRMS analysis. And we hope to extract as many analytes as possible. And then the red one is the GC-HRMS protocol. After the sample preparation, then we have to follow data curation. For that, which is time consuming, we split our focuses in 3 areas. First, target analysis, which we follow by using developed lists from our lab with standards, and we screen them through target analysis. Then for suspect analysis, we used Norman SUSTAT, which is a wide scope regulatory database with more than 68 chemicals. And this database is always being increasing in number of chemicals since more laboratories contribute their databases. And we had to do non-target screening. To identify unknown emerging contaminants. To do suspect screening, UA, in collaboration with Norman Network, developed a tool to store data, sample data, and also process them for suspect screening with SUSTA database, but also smaller databases if someone wants to add. More information you can find in the SFP website and the respective publication. For our results, I will have some short discussion in the end. Now, for trend analysis, we developed a tool, an in-house prioritization tool, to detect using artificial intelligence trend of known chemicals, but also unknown ones, which means targeted and non-targeted ones. This tool is able to detect and classify trends of compounds in categories like increasing during a month, or any other period. Decreasing if it is periodic, like we see this example here, that every week, every Wednesday, Thursday, we have a peak in this contaminant. If we have spill, which means once a month, once a season, and if it is steady or if it's not even a trend, it's not something important. And we have an example here of an industrial chemical that was present every middle of the weekday, and we suspect that it is from industrial discharges. Overall, from our sampling campaigns, we were able to detect 219 emerging contaminants with traces of domestic and industrial waste. We saw that rainfall increases a lot of chemicals accumulated in the soil, like as pesticides, and that a higher load of emerging pollutants, especially industrial chemicals, were more prominent during the weekdays rather than holidays or official holidays like before Christmas. After all these efforts, we had to compile a list of compounds that were that should be followed for the next monitoring campaigns in the future, and that all of these efforts couldn't be possible without the HRMS equipment, the expertise of the researchers of the lab in not only laboratory but also in post-processing part. And I am here for any questions that you might have.
So, as I mentioned before, I represent Kaunas University of Technology in Lithuania. So in the north, we are one of the Baltic states near the Baltic Sea, and we are the partner in big data project. So when we decided to suggest for our partners good practices about the activities performed in our country, we actually made a research on our colleagues, also what was done by our university, other universities and companies around in Lithuania, and in consultation with our EPEI, Ministry of Environment, Environmental Protection Agency, because they are mostly responsible for the development of river basin management plans and also for the measures to decrease the pollution, or in this case, about what we are talking about today, about water quality and especially micropollutants. And of course, I would say that what was said today, that each country, as we are all the European countries, we have an obligation to follow all legislation, and all directives are adopted in our country. And of course, monitoring programs are prepared, and we have also different challenges and issues to monitor, to decrease pollution, and we all prioritize those areas. I'm not going to tell you how the methodology of this prioritization or how they develop the monitoring program. Of course, many activities are, and we have also databases established at Ministry of Environment and EPA. Our EPA is responsible for the management and sharing data or using data for different purposes. So, and what we found, first of all, we decided to concentrate on issues what is related with the Baltic Sea pollution, and we know that our Baltic Sea is one of the most polluted seas in Europe, and not only eutrophication is the problem, nitrogen and phosphorus, but also and especially emerging substances or hazardous substances, micropollutants. And we found several projects done by different partners. And as you remember, maybe Serge, in our workshop in Lithuania, our partners from Klaipėda University, they participated, and also water company, Kretinga Waters, they are located near the Baltic Sea. This this part maybe you can recognize from the bigger picture on the I'm sharing with you with the Baltic Sea, and the rather red dot is Kretinga city in Lithuania, and they are located very, very close to Baltic Sea. And actually, this is a small municipality only with more than 16,000 population, and they decided to take some actions and try to integrate other processes, supplementary processes for the wastewater treatment. Of course, Kretinga Waters company, they have all conventional processes in place. They are based on biological processes, and for their capacities is about more than 5,000 cubic meters per day of wastewater. What they decided to make, and the idea came, of course, from scientists first of all, and from in cooperation with the EPA, to check and to find some solutions for removal of pharmaceuticals. And their objective main was to think about how to treat and pharmaceuticals, and we know that different technologies exist, and they decided to use the activated carbon for pharmaceuticals removal from the municipal wastewater. But of course, afterwards, after I will talk a little bit about the project and what the benefits, most important thing, that they, of course, other pollutants were removed as well, not only pharmaceuticals, also phthalates, they checked in the wastewater and many others. So yes, this is the concept for pilot testing, and they decided to make just pilot testing and not all wastewater to treat with the activated carbon. And of course, nowadays, after 1.5 years integration of this pilot testing, they are discussing and they are thinking to treat all the waters because they are very satisfied with this technology, and I will tell in the end. And I should mention that for the pilot project, they decided just to treat only 15-20% of the wastewater from the overall flow of the wastewater in their company. And of course, there are some technical data about the equipment installed, water flow, carbon, design company, when they started this project, design, procurement, installation. And as you can see, the startup of this pilot project was on 2020 on January 3rd. And the researching, they started also on April that time. And this is just, there are some pictures of pilot testing equipment, and also technology scheme, how this was integrated into the wastewater treatment plant technological scheme. So what was very interesting that after testing, almost after 1 year running of this pilot testing, they made analysis of samples in the end of in 2020 on December 1st, and almost after 1 year, and they understood from the analysis that removal efficiency was for pharmaceuticals 98% and for phthalates 85%. And you can see that which substances were analyzed, phthalates, many of them, also different pharmaceuticals. And yes, and they were very satisfied with this installation. And after we had discussion with our partners, especially who are interested in this good practice presented during the Big Data for Rivers project, and our partner, they raise some questions for us, and we would like to share with you as well. Maybe this is also important and interesting. So first of all, what is the infrastructure installation and operational cost of the pilot unit in a small or medium wastewater treatment plant? And the answer was from the company that project costs were about 130,000 euros. And operational costs, that they explained to me that, of course, there are some people dedicated for the each day for the whole wastewater treatment plant operation things. So maybe half an hour per day, they just to check, have to check after how the process is, and if the technological equipment processes, and of course all the parameters are okay. Also, the question was about what is the lifespan of the pilot unit, how often they change the cassettes, or what are the costs of the treatment. So their answer was that after 1.5 years, they decided to change, and now they are discussing about to recover, to make the recirculation of the carbon, or to change with a new carbon. So they are under discussion this, and also as I said before, the operational cost was only half an hour per day, sometimes maybe in half an hour per day per month, or day per month. They said that it is very few, just not a lot of time to spend to check the process, to go into the premises where the technology installed. So they don't presented the actual costs. And also there was also a question about the population PE of this city. So as I mentioned before, the PE is 32,000, because not only the connected from the Kretinga city wastewaters are treated, but also in different villages, suburbs of Kretinga city, there are a lot of living villages, and they also collect from them with and transport to the wastewater treatment plant. So officially the PE is 32,000. So, and what are the indicators linked to good practice? So, as I said before, they checked phthalates, different pharmaceuticals, and also this year they decided to check more emerging substances, but they don't have results of the analysis. But yes, the project was mostly related to pharmaceuticals, and the pharmaceuticals was the target substances. So that's it, what I wanted to present to you, and maybe if you have some questions, it would be a pleasure to me to answer to you.